If your school wants 4.5 on the new TOEFL, but you don't really know how good you have to be in each section, this video is for you. Maybe you already took the official paid ETS mock when you registered for your test. You saw one score for reading, one for listening, one for writing, one for speaking, and now you're stuck with 4 numbers and no answer key. So in this video, I'll show you how to use the current 7 free ETS practice tests. The links are in the description to see where you are strong or weak and check if you're in a realistic zone for around 4.5 overall. If you haven't taken any mock test yet, that's fine. You can start directly from the free tests and follow the same steps. I'm Lee E, a non-native TOEFL coach. I took the new test on January 21st, and I went through all the paid mock tests and the free mock tests. I've spent a lot of time reverse engineering them, and I'm also building my own mock tests. So why focus on 4.5? Many master's programs now ask for 4.5 or above on the new 0 to 6 scale, including schools like Stanford and the University of Toronto. On ETS's official conversion table, 4.5 overall is roughly equal to about 86 plus in the old TOEFL system. So if you're aiming at serious graduate programs, 4.5 is a very common target. Some schools even ask for 5 or 5.5. So in this video, we'll answer 1, how do you know if you're at that level yet? 2, how can you use the free ETS practice tests to check this? You don't need 4.5 in every section. Your overall TOEFL score is an average of the 4 sections, the scores in the 4 sections, 0 to 6 each. That means to get 4.5 overall, you do not need 4.5 in all 4 sections. For example, you can get something like 5.0, 5.0, 4.0, 4.0. That is 4.5. You can also get something like 5.5, 4.5, 4, 4. So your goal is not 4.5 everywhere. Your goal is a few strong sections and the others being good enough, not terrible. If you're taking the new TOEFL 2026 and want extra practice, timing, and scoring guides and updates as we collect more real results, there's a link below this video. Fill out the short form and I'll send them to you. Now let's talk about what good enough for 4.5 looks like on the free ETS tests. Here's my 20% rule. Why aiming for 80% correct is a good target. Technically, not every question in the real exam, especially the listening and reading section, has exactly the same weight. Some questions can count a little bit more or less, but the 7 free ETS practice tests are very consistent, and when I compare them with different paid mock tests, the behavior is very close to this simple rule. If you can stay around 80% correct, that is about 20% error, in reading and listening on these tests, you're usually in a 4.5 zone. We're going to use this 20% rule because it's something you can actually remember and apply instead of guessing internal scaling tables that are unknown to you anyways, that are the official ones that ETS has internally. So step 0, we need to set up with the free tests. If you want to follow this step-by-step, pause here and open the links in the description to the 7 free ETS practice tests, and then make a simple log on paper or in a spreadsheet. For example, you can do something like what I'm showing on the screen. Then, when you have time, start with one of the tests, do the sections under time. Okay, if you don't know the timing, you can download our from our mailing list subscription link below. You can download the timing guide. Okay, and then you can record your scores. But I think for now you don't even have to do that, because you have 7 tests in total that you can play with. So you don't need to do all 7 in one day. Even 1 or 2 tests are enough to see clear patterns. Okay, so The reading section. There are 35 questions in reading module 1 and 2 combined. You can get about 7 questions wrong. That is about 20% error rate. In the free ETS tests, reading is very consistent. There are 35 scored questions, 20 in the first module, 15 in the second. So in those 7 tests, they give you 5 extra academic passage questions in module 2. So when you use the free tests to estimate your level, only count the first 35 questions. That is the 20 questions in module 1 and the first 15 questions of module 2. From what I see and from how my mini mock test behaves, students around a 4.5 reading band usually have about 7 wrong out of 35. That's about 80% correct, 20% error. So the simple rule is if you get 28 out of the 35 questions correct on the ETS free reading tests, you're probably in a 4.5 reading zone. If you're consistently missing, say 10 plus, it's likely very unsafe. I would say it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get 4 or under. More important than the exact number is where your mistakes are. If many wrong answers are in complete the words, that trap is your main problem. If they're spread out, your general reading habits probably need more work. After each reading test, write in your log, so reading, X number of errors out of 35, plus 1 note, okay, which section I'm the weakest. For example, complete the words. Now, listening, you also can apply this simple 20% rule. Once again, ETS does not publish this official conversion table, and theoretically speaking, each question is weighted a little bit differently, but again, based on my observation of my student score and my score in the paid mock test, this is overall safe benchmark for someone who needs 4.5. For listening, the free ETS tests have a slightly different question type mix from the real exam, but total scored questions are around 7 wrong answers out of 35. That is about 80% correct. Okay. So if in the ETS free test, in the listening section, you get 28 questions correct, then you're probably good enough for a 4.5 goal. Okay. If you're below that, listening is not yet safe for you, so you should check which parts hurt you more. Is it the choose a response questions? Is it the conversation? Is it the announcements? Or is it the lectures? Okay. And in terms of question type, if it's the lectures, is it the main idea questions or the detail or the inference questions? Okay. So again, after each test, write down this information in your log. In the listening section, practice test X, I got Y number of wrong answers out of 35 questions, plus a short note about the error patterns, like which question type that are more difficult for you. Okay, so writing. Writing is harder to self-score, but we can still use a simple rule based on my mock tests data. So you have 10 build-a-sentence questions plus 1 email task and 1 academic discussion task. For writing to reach about 4.5, the overall error rate is also 20%. Again, because email and academic discussion are hard to judge by yourself, use this simple estimation benchmark. For both tests, If you write at least 100 words, stay on topic, and keep the structure clear, it's reasonable to assume that you'll lose maybe 0 to 2 points per task from small mistakes. So to leave room for that, your build a sentence needs to be strong. So if you want to see what higher band writing, like what kind of writing will get you 4 or 5, I have a video comparing AI scored email answers and a video walking you through an academic discussion answer. I'll put those and the official TOEFL writing rubrics in the description as well. So a lot of things in the description. You don't have to memorize the rubrics, but seeing a 5-point sample in those videos might help more. Okay. So the speaking section. You need to get mostly 4s in the interview questions and the listen and repeat questions. In speaking, you don't have right versus wrong answers, but on the free tests, you effectively have 11 scored tasks in total. Okay? 7 for listen and repeat, 4 for interview. For speaking, to get around 4.5, you want answers that sound like band 4 most of the time, with maybe like only 1 to 2 that are in band 3. So for listen and repeat, band 4 basically means that you're only missing 1 to 2 words when you repeat the sentence. If it's 3, that means you're losing maybe a little bit more words, but it's still overall a complete sentence. So that's 3. Okay. And for the interview questions, 4 is still logically sound, maybe more pauses in between, but overall it's a clear answer. So that gets you a 4. Okay. So for the detailed rubrics, also check the link in the description. So for speaking, if in practice most of your answers feel like 4-level answers and only 1 to 2 feel like 3, you're in a safer zone for speaking around 4.5. If many answers feel like 3 or below, then speaking isn't at 4.5 yet. So overall, how do you use this today? Check if you're good enough for around 4.5 using only the free ETS test. So here's a quick review on how we check we are good enough for around 4.5 in each of the section. In reading, in listening, in writing, in speaking. Okay, the main idea is you don't need to be perfect to hit 4.5. On the free ETS tests, you can stay around 80% correct in reading, listening, build a sentence in writing, and mostly 4-level answers in speaking. If your log shows one area that is much weaker, that's where your time and energy should go first. Okay. Later, if you need 5.0 or higher, the error margin gets smaller. But for now, this is a practical way to answer, am I good enough yet for 4.5, or am I still far away? So use the free ETS tests, fill in your log for 1 to 2 of them, and you'll have a much clearer answer than just looking at one-page mock score and guessing.